There we go. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Saturday morning. You know what that means. It's time to talk some wrestling. This is Wrestling Supercharged, a pro wrestling podcast. I am your host, former professional wrestler, promoter of Voltage Wrestling, jack of all trades, master of what I do not know, Mike Reddick. I'm alongside my broadcast partner, Redis the Menace Carball. How you doing, Redis?
I'm doing well, Mike. How about you?
Not too bad. We are doing well considering everybody's getting released. I had to turn my
Yeah.
phone off because you just don't know. WWE could call and release
Yeah.
me. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, releases aplenty this week. I'm sure you've got the list, Rennis. You should run down
Yep,
that
I
one.
got the list right in front of me. Starting, I'm going to go through all the names first, and then we can kind of go down the list one at a time, or whatever names pop out at us. We got Nia Jax, Keith Lee, Mai Yim, Karrion Kross, Ava Marie, Ember Moon, Scarlett Bordeaux, Frankie Monet, Grand Metalik, Lindsay Dorado, Oni Lorcan, B-Fab of Hit Row, Jesse Kamea, Zeta Ramier, Trey Baxter, Katrina Cortez, Jeet Rema, and Harry Smith.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, guys, you know what's surprising about this list? Some of those people have only been there for just a few months.
yeah. Yeah, and they made big plays to get them.
Yeah, a huge place to get them. To get them to come down here, uproot their lives, move to Florida, just do whatever they need to do to become a WWE superstar, and then we find ourselves in a situations where there is no more job. You're getting released. You're back out on your ass again, so to speak.
Yeah.
A terrible, terrible situation to be in. Um,
And so, of course, all these people were given the email, the standard budget cuts, kid. Uh, good luck in your future endeavor email. But there's
right before,
right after. It was
right
right
after.
after.
Record profits.
Yep, $256 million of revenue this last quarter. Another record-breaking quarter for WWE after their quarterlies. So there are a couple things here. There are two things that I've heard coming out about these releases. One is that some of them were unvaccinated.
Yeah,
I'm fighting a sneeze here. And the others, there was a new edict that has come out. Nope, dang it, it's gonna. There we go.
I'm glad you didn't do that in front of Vince. You would have been released.
Oh yeah, I'd have been fired.
You'd been fired, pal.
So there's also an edict that came out that they're trying not to hire women over a certain age. And that kind of tracks with Frankie Monet, who is 38 years old. There was another one on here that was a little bit, maybe Naya or Maya. Maybe when Mercedes Martinez. I know she's not.
Yeah.
She's a little older, but that to me that bothers me because it's not a big deal when it's a guy, but when it's a woman, I mean, Frankie Monet is really good in the ring and a really good. She's a natural. I mean, she carried the Knockouts division for a time.
Yeah.
In Impact.
I was going to add to this when you brought up Mercedes Martinez. This is somebody who has been around. She's one of the pioneers of what I would call the modern women's wrestling. It surprises me she would get released, considering she would have been an excellent candidate to be like a coach besides Sarah Del Rey or whoever else they have down there now.
Agreed.
It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. So let's just go down this list here. Let's start at the top. Nia Jax. Brian Carball says Christmas came early. I will go on record. I've gone on record on this show, and I am not a Nia Jax fan. I never have been. I never will be. She was unsafe in the ring. She was slow in the ring. She never got over with me. She never. I never. That being said, she is one of the ones that it is rumored. Now, I'm not going to say that this is fact. I'm not going to say that this is a definite. She is one of the ones that were rumored to have not been vaccinated and let go because of that. Like I said, this is rumor. The other thing that kind of sucks for Nia, I will go to bat for her on this, is they fired her while she was on a mental health break. She asked for a mental health break, and then she asked for more time, and they let her go. Um, they may have the reasons, but the look of it, you
It's not a
know,
good look.
no, not at all. So Nia Jax, Keith Lee, which is just it's super unfortunate. The guy, was the star of Survivor Series. He was one of the stars of the Royal Rumble. Um, had a bright future in front of him, and then they sent him back down to NXT because Vince didn't think he was good enough. Which I will say there were some times where I was like, that could have been a little cleaner. Well, I saw a match with him. I think him and Drew McIntyre one Monday night was not good, but he was undergoing a character change, and they cut him. Mia Yim, we haven't seen her. Mia Yim, we haven't seen her for a very long time. Ever since she left Retribution. Brian Carl never got over with me. Okay, so the problem with this list and the never got over with me stuff, for the most part, is they weren't booked well on the main roster.
Yeah. I mean,
if you didn't watch them on NXT, you had no schema of who they were.
Pretty much.
Which is unfortunate, and that's that whole, they weren't never really the third brand when they should have been treated as such. And now I think we're going to see that more with the NXT 2.0. Is how it is going to be treated as the third brand, and the gimmicks and characters that they create on NXT 2.0 will carry over because there is more of Vince and Kevin's, not Kevin, Bruce Pritchard's fingerprints all over it now.
Yeah, which that's another topic of discussion for another day.
Yeah,
I will say that.
The next one that just go ahead, Mike. Sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to say, regardless, all these releases coming the day that you announce record profits or $256 million of profit, is a bad look. I'm trying to pull up the tweet here. Just give me a few moments, but Jordan Grace last night from Impact Wrestling had a lot to say. About this.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I think that's BS because there are obviously other reasons they're letting them go. It's not because of budget cuts. No. It's not. And I just get tired of that. Oh, sorry, it's budget cuts. Budget cut doesn't mean anything anymore. When you are making money hand over fist, you're doing these Saudi shows that you're making millions of dollars off of. You've got the Peacock deal, revenue because you saved a crap ton of money. Stop telling these people it's because of budget cuts. Tell them, hey, we just don't see it creatively for you.
Yeah.
We don't understand it. And they won't admit to that. They will never admit to that.
Even then, that is a BS excuse. I will say it straight up, right off the bat. If you can't find anything creatively for a person that you invested money in, the problem isn't them. The problem is you. You need to lose your job. And the thing is, there's no accountability on writers.
Right. Well, there's a major disconnect between creative and the business.
And I don't want to cut you off here, but I do want to read this tweet, and this pretty much sums it up. Jordan Grace, 2 days ago on Twitter, said this, and I mean, it was a matter of fact, and I quote, "It's very simple. Watch and spend your money on something else. It's just, for lack of a better term, fucking ridiculous at this point. It's one thing to not to renew someone's contract. It's another thing to have someone uproot their entire lives, move to an unfamiliar area, and then release them from a contract mere months into it. That's what's, quote, fucked up."
Yeah. What is this? Sports Illustrated posted a really interesting article. I didn't get to read it, but the title says it all. WWE's latest round of cuts signals a disconnect with its fan base.
Absolutely. They're completely disconnected from its fan base. I mean, it was never more apparent than with the Keith Bearcat Lee thing.
Yeah.
That seems and screams 70s, 80s wrestling, and I'm sorry.
Right. It's not that anymore.
I'm sorry for you old school wrestling fans out there that thinks that they need to bring the 80s back. That style will not work in a contemporary environment.
No.
Those characters would not work in a contemporary environment.
Nope.
It's just not going to work.
No. Another shocking one and just an absolute atrocity, in my opinion, is I'll talk about them both jointly. The Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux.
Yeah.
He was awesome in NXT, a 2-time NXT champion. And then they brought him to the main roster and they ruined him. I did see an interesting Twitter exchange between him and a fan saying, "Are you taking that helmet with you?" And he said something along the lines, "No one wants that piece of shit."
Yeah.
Like helmet,
Call
and it's
him
true.
like I see him. You know.
The guy could have been, and then the other thing was they were in the process of repackaging him as kind of more like what he was in Impact, kind of this cool, calm, collected killer when he was Killer Cross in Impact and AAA with Scarlett Bordeaux, who was, you know, the anti-diva. She was in the independent circuit the quintessential diva look-wise, but she could wrestle. And that's the one thing we never got to see of her. People never got to see how good of a wrestler she actually is.
Yeah, she's very talented.
She's extremely talented on the mic, in the ring.
Even on commentary, nobody can touch
me.
No, just
Brian Carball saying he's one of those that is supposed to have been unvaccinated.
Guys, get the vaccine. On that one, I don't blame somebody for being released. I will say that. Get the vaccine. Especially if you're working in this line of work. If you're working in professional wrestling, you have it's.
And I do get the unvaccinated thing because that means they can't run in certain buildings, they can't run in certain states because of that, and that's not what they're looking to. They need to run as many places as they can.
Because if you can't make all your towns,
right,
you're not worth as much money anymore. It's the way it is.
However, AEW makes it work. Jericho, I don't know if Chris Jericho is vaccinated, but he is. I don't think he is. But they make it work. It's one day, and you know, I understand. You know, oh, I can't just take one day. Yeah, unfortunately, you can. You have such a bloated product already. I don't need to see every single person every single week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Unfortunately, Roman Reigns is the reason people watch SmackDown. Not unfortunately, he's a good wrestler. He's good. I love the gimmick. I think he's one of the best guys out there right now.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I watched SmackDown for the first time in a while last night. I wanted to give it a chance. I'm sitting there watching it with a friend over at a friend's place, you know, and he happens to turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the whole 2-hour show. It's very apparent right now Roman Reigns and the Bloodline are the only things that are connecting with that audience.
Yes.
Very apparent. The show itself, it was a decent show, but that Roman Reigns segment and basically the match with the Usos there towards the end with Usos and New Day was literally the only two segments that I bought the entire show. Sure. Everything else just seemed out of place, or people felt like they were out of their element. It felt very awkward, but the Roman Reigns thing felt very authentic.
Yeah.
Which yeah, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, that's a big step forward for WWE.
Yeah. Who else did we? Ava Marie, not that shocking. Wondering why they brought her back in the first place, if they weren't going to use her. Anyway, moving on. Ember Moon. Unfortunate. She's really good in the ring.
Yeah.
She was plagued by some injuries. I'll buy that, but she's really good. The one, Frankie Monet. Yeah. They made a big deal about her coming in. They made a huge deal about her coming in. She could have been a star, which is it's awkward because she's married to John Morrison. I don't think he's going to stick around too much longer, though. I have a feeling.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't foresee him staying around much longer. I think he'd probably more or less go back to AAA, or work over in New Japan. But Frankie Monet, she's really good in the ring. She's talented all around. She has a great look. Now, Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado had asked for their releases for months, especially Grand. It's well documented that Grand Metalik had had asked for his release several times. Oni Lorcan, B Fab of Hit Row, who if I remember correctly, just signed to another contract. They had just re-upped her contract or something along those lines. Brian Carball saying, Lucha House Party, no great loss. I hate the gimmick. I hated the gimmick.
Yeah.
They could have been so much better if they just let them be cruiserweight luchadors. Like,
I agree.
Some of these I'm not, like Jesse Kamea, Zeta Rainier, Trey Baxter, Katrina Cortez, Jeet Rama. The one I am bummed about is Harry Smith, aka Davey Boy Smith Jr., son of the British Bulldog. He had just worked a dark match a couple months ago, and there was talk that he was going to be coming back on the main roster and stuff. Let him go. He will not hurt for work.
No.
He did a lot in MLW. I expect him to work over in MLW. I expect him to work AEW, Impact, do the rounds.
Well, the fact too is, he had a pretty good run in New Japan that he left to come back to WWE for.
Yes.
And now they brought him in and just kind of sent him on his way again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a shit sandwich.
I think I read something like since 2021, it's been 70 some releases. There was some also corporate. I don't have the corporate shake up the releases. I know they fired their CFO. They let the CFO go the day after the quarterly call and already have a new CFO.
So they let their CFO go.
Yes.
After they reported all of those gains.
Yes. Yeah, apparently they were one of the people who talked the most, like that. Her, I think, and Nick Khan and Stephanie McMahon did all the talking, and then they let her go the next day.
Wow.
I think it's a her. I don't have the article in front of me.
Well, man, isn't it such a great company to work for?
But I did see, promoters out there. We you and I can talk as promoters and producers of Voltage.
Yeah.
While these guys and girls are going to be back out there on the indies, we cannot forget, and guys do not forget about the people who are still on the indies. Just because we have this shiny new toy, you and I and Kyle have already started fantasy booking stuff. That's what we do. That's our job. But we can't forget about the guys and girls who are still working their butts off on the indies to try to make it to that next level.
And I'm going to make a bold prediction. I don't think you're going to see a lot of those guys or a lot of girls or guys that were released on the indies.
I don't either.
I've been noticing this for the last couple of months. There is less and less guys coming off of TV and going back to the indies.
Yeah.
We're getting to a point where, and this happened in the early 2000s, where the guys that were making big money, they're looking at this. You got conventions and stuff to go to now.
Yeah.
They're looking at this whole thing as the indies are beneath them, and when you've worked up in WWE for a long time, you kind of get that mentality.
Yeah.
We've seen this situation before, back in the early to mid-2000s, where guys would either charge exorbitant amounts of money to come back down on the indies, or they just would have no interest in doing it. They'd go do movies and really
Well,
bad
it's like
movies.
Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Remember he was charging, there was a rumor going around that he was charging like $20,000 to make an appearance on an indie.
Yeah, the thing is, had he charged significantly less money, he probably would still only be doing the major touring indies, your big time wrestlings and things like that. You wouldn't see him at Game Changer Wrestling.
No.
I don't think that.
Well, I don't know, man. They're really coming up. I mean, they are really up and coming right now, man. You can't. GCW is on the rise.
They basically took Ring of Honor's spot, or CZW. It's just it's like a combination of Ring of Honor and CZW. In my opinion. They've been doing great things. I mean, they've been touring around the country. They haven't stuck in one area, so to speak,
Right.
which is unusual for an indie. So,
Speaking of, I want to talk about one more thing in regards kind of to releases is there are rumors coming out that Bray Wyatt was apparently extremely hard to work with backstage towards the end there, to which, or I should say, Wyndham Rotunda,
yeah.
as he goes by.
Gee, I wonder why when your gimmick kind of gets just fed to the wolves every 3 to 4 months, why would you be hard to work with?
Well, he posted something on Twitter like, "I can't wait to tell my side of the story" or something like that. Same rumors coming out about Keith Lee.
Yeah.
That he had apparently had a perceived attitude backstage. But once again, like you said, Mike, I mean, I've never been in the situation like they have been, but how many times can they yank your chain or screw over your gimmick before you start to get an attitude?
Yeah.
Before you do act like, well, this is stupid. What is going on? You don't know what you're doing.
It seems to me more and more in the wrestling business that people are trying to get people under rather than over. It seemed that way for the last 4 or 5 years. You get a commodity that's hot, that's all the indies, and they kind of want to get them under, sit on them for a little while, and then spin them back out.
Right, almost like they got too hot on the indies. They want to undersell them, and then when they go back out, they're screwed.
Yeah.
Because of their time in WWE.
Yeah, pretty much. And like people and the collective, like the regular public, won't take them as serious as they did before because of that WWE run. Like you'll make some money for a bit. You'll probably make some money on the convention circuit, but as a performer, you're not taken as seriously when you go back out.
Right.
I don't know.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
Speaking of unfortunate, I want to talk about this before we get into AEW stuff. Big news this week. Jon Moxley on Tuesday. Tony Khan announced that he was checking into an inpatient to a rehab for alcohol addiction. Unfortunate. It's sad, but he's getting the help he needs, and he has undying support. I mean, the support on Twitter and on TV. They even addressed it on Dynamite from CM Punk. Cut a promo about it. I actually I got Moxley's book. Came in the mail on Tuesday. I'm excited to dive into that this week.
Oh man, was that a shoot or what?
What?
Was that a shoot or what?
Oh yeah, I can't. Some of the stuff he's put in it, I can't wait to read. I've tried to stay away from spoilers as much as possible because I do really want to read it. I want to experience it for the first time.
I hear it's an easy read too. It's like 250 pages.
Yeah, it's not that long. I think one of the unfortunate, kind of the nice thing is it's from the beginning of his career to now. It's not one of those books where, like Jericho. I love Jericho, but dude's got like 5 books because he's just had such a long career.
Yeah.
I am admittedly a very slow reader. I remember it all, but I am a very, very slow reader. So a book this size, I'm looking at it right now on my shelf. It's enticing because I know I can get a lot out of it in 250 pages.
Yeah. No, great read, a quick read. I recommend everybody go out and buying it.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got some WWE news.
Yeah.
We've got some AEW news this week.
Yep.
I watched AEW Rampage last night.
We'll start there.
Yeah, I'm going to start with Rampage because this Eddie Kingston CM Punk thing is, despite what people might think on the internet and on other podcasts, I think it's been great so far.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Something starting out of nowhere over something very small and kind of escalating from there.
Yeah. These guys are gonna. I'm a little bummed. I don't think Full Gear is the end of this feud.
No,
they'd be stupid to make it the end of the feud because these guys are going to. You could get a lot longer out of these two in this rivalry and this pairing. I think you know what I mean. It's going to be really good. I mean, if we saw a glimpse of the kind of the promo stuff last night,
yeah, we did.
That will be.
The Eddie Kingston, I have said this for a while. Eddie Kingston is one of the most real people.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
the realest man on the mic, if you will. And pairing him with CM Punk, somebody who has a history of not being afraid to speak his mind. You kind of saw a little bit of that last night.
Hmm.
Oh, you sure did.
And I don't know. I don't think it's all a shoot, but the way they're presenting it,
Yeah.
it definitely feels like a worked shoot.
I'm interested to I'm interested to see what unfolds
When he
after Full
said
Gear.
when Kingston said last night, like, I'm gonna make you, I'm gonna beat you from bell to bell, and then you're gonna do what you did 7 years ago and quit. That that line was fire. It was
Yeah.
so good.
Speaking of fire
This
lines,
is what Punk has needed since he came back. Someone to test him,
yes.
and Kingston is perfect to do that.
Now, speaking of fire lines last night.
Oh, are you talking about the Max Caster line?
Oh my goodness.
It was so good.
Yeah. What was
Max
it?
Caster had a line like, oh gosh, I just had it on Twitter. I gotta find it now. It was like
It's something about ending more careers than your
your
father-in-law.
father-in-law, who, for those of you who don't know, his father-in-law is John Laurinaitis, who is doing all these who is now in charge of doing all of these releases. Oh, I end careers quicker than your father-in-law. Wow, what a line!
Yeah. Speaking of that match, him and Anthony Bowens. Anthony Bowens like hung in there with him the entire time, which kind of surprised me.
Danielson doesn't have a bad match.
Never.
Since he came to AEW, he hasn't put on a bad match. I don't know if he ever will in AEW, to be honest. He is probably. I know that the Young Bucks this week said, Kenny Omega is the best wrestler out there. False.
No.
False. It is Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson is the best professional wrestler that we have today.
Oh, absolutely. There's nobody better than Bryan Danielson.
As far as in-ring skills and in-ring presentation go, there's no one better.
No, there's absolutely no one better. I mean, I don't think we've seen anybody this good in the ring since like the Benoit Guerrero days.
Yeah.
The early to mid 2000s. Which, yeah, I mean, if you're ever doing some fantasy booking, what a time it would have been to have that in the WWE with all of those guys mixing it up. It would have been great.
Once again, man, I'm hoping I eventually get... I want John Gresham versus Bryan Danielson so bad.
Well, there was a rumor that he was going to sign with AEW here soon.
Gresham? I haven't seen that. It would not surprise me.
Yeah.
I think he would be... What I would absolutely love, is for him to somehow at Final Battle in December win the Ring of Honor Championship and hold that and carry it with him if he ever came to AEW and stuff.
Speaking of Final Battle, because I know that's the day after our Morgantown show.
Yeah. Which we'll talk about more here later.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about it next week. There's also a show in Hagerstown we're gonna talk about a little bit coming up here. But Final Battle.
Yep.
I'm wondering if we're going to see any special appearances, because this theoretically could be the last ROH
It could be
show.
the curtain call for them.
Yeah.
As far as anyone knows, they keep saying they're going to come back, but time will tell.
I'll sit there. I've got friends that work there. I hope and pray they come back. That organization as a whole has not had an impact on people that I know. It's had an impact on me and the way that I view professional wrestling. It's had an impact on it's had an impact on the industry as a whole. I hope they stick around. I'm praying for the best. It does not look good right now. However, just hell, for the sake of my friends that work there, I'm praying and hoping for the best, and I hope that they figure out a way to kind of stick around and survive. And just keep going. Ring of Honor nobody wants to see Ring of Honor go.
No.
But the fact of the matter is, I think it's a call bigger than the people of Ring of Honor. It's
Well, Sinclair, it came out this week that they're like $12 million in debt.
yeah,
Like over $12 million in debt.
and it has to do with a new streaming service
Yeah.
apparently. That's the rumor and innuendo, so to speak.
Right. The rumor. Now we can't report that that's fact here, but
Yeah.
those are the rumors. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a lot last week. I'll just briefly touch on it, but it'll be interesting to see where a lot of these Ring of Honor wrestlers go. I do have a feeling we are going to see once he heals after his he unfortunately had a leg break last week in Danhausen. I have a feeling we're going to see him in AEW eventually.
Yeah.
AEW or Impact with all the Danhausen signs. Yeah.
With all the Danhausen signs and the MJF stuff that he's been doing the last couple of weeks, that has been hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, folks. Yeah, if you haven't seen his GoFundMe, if you can contribute to it, because Danhausen needs the moneyhausen.
Yeah, he needs some help. He broke his leg at an event last Halloween.
Very injured.
And he has to stay. He had to get surgery. He has to do rehab and everything. And he lives in Canada, but because of the treatment and stuff, he has to stay in the United States for the treatment and stuff. So he is away from his wife and stepdaughter. But there's a GoFundMe out there. I believe they hit their goal, but every little bit will still help in case something goes wrong, in case he doesn't get released on time or whatever. Support Danhausen. He is Jim Cornette approved.
Yeah,
Jim Cornette loves
something.
it.
Yeah. No, so just for ROH as a whole, I hope they stick around. If they don't, Remus, who 5 guys you would want to see from there get signed?
Oh gosh, I gotta bring up. They have an interest. Ring of Honor. I gotta bring up the roster. I don't, because I'm sure there's gonna be someone I forget, and I don't want to. So first and foremost is Jonathan Gresham. I love Jonathan Gresham just as a pure wrestler. Let's see, Danhausen, obviously, love that Danhausen. Let's see. I would love to see Quinn McKay end up somewhere. I think she's really Roxy. I'd love to. Jay Lethal. I think Jay Lethal, if they come back, will stay at Ring of Honor. I think. But he could also go back to Impact, man. He had a great run in Impact. We could see Black Machismo all over again.
That would be fantastic. My list is pretty similar to yours. Obviously, Gresham, Jay Lethal, Mike Bennett, Maria would be on that. Then I'm considering them a package deal, so that's 3.
The Briscoes.
Titus and the Briscoes.
Matt Taven is really good. I know. I'll speak for Kyle here, so it won't be one of my picks. But who was it? Maxie Impaler, I believe is her name.
Yeah.
Yes, Maxie Impaler. He loves those creepy gimmicks.
He does.
He's a big Abaddon guy.
Yeah, he sure is.
Rhett Titus, obviously, yeah.
Rhett Titus is just Roosh is another one. But
he turned down an NXT gig.
Let me go back to this. The Briscoe brothers.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be on TV yesterday. They need to be either in AEW or WWE. I know there was the conversation of the controversial tweet that happened like 10 years ago of some sort. I remember when it happened. I'm not going to talk about it.
At this point, who doesn't have a controversial tweet?
Yeah, everybody's got a controversial tweet. The thing is, if you grow from it and you're not continuing to make these comments and you learn and improve from it, that's the big thing. You haven't heard a controversial thing from J or Mark Briscoe since, and I think it's about time that we put them on TV. It's literally, and I'll say this, anybody wants to argue this with me, they can, they'll lose, but you can argue it with me. That is the best tag team in the world. And they've been that for a long time.
The case could be made for the Briscoes easily. I think they would fit better in Impact or actually Impact AEW, but I'd really love to see him in New Japan.
New Japan would be great, but just think about this for a second. I want you to marinate on this. The Briscoes versus FTR.
Oh yeah, 100%. That'd be incredible. I just don't see them. I don't see them in WWE.
I don't see them in WWE. I see them in AEW first.
Yes,
Tony Khan would make a ton of money off of these guys because I mean, at the end of the day, that is those two are working man's wrestlers.
Yep.
Watch the damn tapes, guys. Watch the damn tapes. Just working man's wrestlers. Great in the ring. Jay's great on the microphone. Mark's right up there with them. They are the total package as far as tag teams go. They can make a lot of people a lot of money. They need to be on TV. Case closed, hands down. Best tag team in the world. Fight me on that.
The one from Dynamite this week. So Mox was out. They had freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy versus the Redeemer Miro. Miro won the match. At Full Gear, you've got a match announced. It is going to be Miro versus Bryan Danielson.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a really good match.
The
Full Gear card is really starting to shape up here.
Did we ever get that match in WWE, by the way?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
So we've got, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page, which I believe is going to be the coronation of. Yes, Necro Butcher does still wrestle with Ring of Honor.
Really?
I believe so. I thought I just saw him on the. Maybe hold on. Don't hold me to that.
I thought he was retired. I was a big fan of Necro.
Maybe he doesn't.
These kids couldn't handle Necro on TV.
That's a West Virginia boy.
Oh, too. I know that's a West Virginia boy.
Retirement and turn. No, he doesn't. I don't. No, he is no longer with Ring of Honor. That's my fault. Let's see. We got Britt Baker versus Tay Conti for the Women's World Championship. Bryan Danielson versus Miro for the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament Final. Say that 5 times fast. You've got the Inner Circle comprising of Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santino Ortiz versus the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and American Top Team Junior Dos Santos, Andre Arlovsky, and Dan Lambert.
Right. Did Roman Reigns ever get to throw Junior Dos Santos out of that club?
Don't think so.
No, it didn't happen.
American Top Team, Paige Van Zant was on AEW this week. I'll tell you what, man. If she ever wants to get out of that bare knuckle fighting club, she could make a good addition to the AEW women's roster. She held her own on the mic. I was very impressed. Yeah. You have the Lucha Brothers versus FTR for the tag team championships. Darby Allin versus MJF. CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. And Super Click, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks versus Christian Cage and Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
Did you see the backstage clip with Adam Cole and John Silver?
Yes. Yes. Also, the Inner Circle versus Men of the Year and American Top Team is a 10-man tag team Minneapolis street fight. I don't know what it is, but I'm here for it.
We're here for it. We're here for it.
We are not gonna get to watch it. Why, Mike?
Because we've got a show. We've got an event. We've got an event next weekend going up against Full Gear competition. Competition. No, but in any event, it's going to be a great night of live wrestling in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania next Saturday night. Guys, if you don't got your tickets, you need to go to VoltageWrestling.com and get those here very soon. It is going to be a great night of wrestling action. So far, the card looks like this. We've got Max Morrison going one-on-one with former Impact Wrestling, TNA Wrestling heavyweight champion, Cowboy James Storm. We have got Mr. Grimm going one-on-one with Lucha Underground's Ricky Reyes. That's going down. We have got Big Trouble Ben Bishop going against the Butterfinger champion. Yes, the Butterfinger, the candy bar. They have their own champion. And he is one tough customer in the Savage Gentleman, Victor Benjamin. He's going to be there. We have got Riot City's Most Wanted, the team of Ron Holiday and Jason Drake going against a team making their debut, Alan Clayball, Sage Matthews, Dog Nation. They're coming in there thirsty from competition. It's going to be a great one. We've got Beastman there. We have got Hyena Hex there, flanked by Captain Decapitate.
Unfortunately, by Captain Decapitate.
Or Captain Crunch, as we like to call him.
Yep.
But the captain is going to be there, and he is bringing all of the crew.
Is he bringing Tennille with him?
I don't think he's bringing Tennille with him. No, but he's bringing his crew of blood.
Yeah.
His crew of blood with him. He's got Beastman and Hyena Hex, and both of them have made their impact the last couple of months here at Voltage Wrestling. The weight of the world, Corey Bush, I know he's going to be there. He's going to be in action, and he has got a lot to say on what is next for him in Voltage Wrestling. It is going to be a
stacked
fun night.
Card.
This card, it's a stack that you're going to get.
Yeah.
The stack that you're going to get. Speaking of other cards, we have got December 10th, another Voltage Wrestling card in Morgantown, West Virginia. Morgantown, West Virginia. That is going to be headlined by former WWE superstar, current Impact Wrestling superstar, the
ECW superstar,
former ECW World Champion, the final
ECW
one,
World Champion.
The Man Beast Rhino is going to be in action in Morgantown, West Virginia. Also on that card, we've got so far Big Trouble Ben Bishop. We have got. Trying to think of who else we booked for yesterday.
I believe is our champion going to be there, Mike?
Well, yes, Sicken's going to be there. We've got Sicken there. We've got the faculty is going to be making an appearance there. Jacob Edwin and Coach Osborne. We have got the Neon Ninja Facade. He's going to be there. Danny Moe's going to be there. And there's going to be some other surprises that we're going to announce here in the coming weeks. But Morgantown, West Virginia, you're getting a night of wrestling action like you've never seen before.
Yep, we are bringing... I don't know the last time that there was live professional wrestling in Morgantown. I really don't. I know Dad and I used to go up there to Impact shows on the lake, at the waterfront there. But man, it's been a minute. This show means a lot to me as a West Virginia boy myself. You know, got a lot of friends up in Morgantown. Went to school in Fairmont, about a stone's throw away from Morgantown. So this one definitely means a lot to me. I'm glad to finally be taking Voltage Wrestling up there to give the good people, to give the good people of Morgantown, Fairmont, and Clarksburg and the surrounding areas a night of professional wrestling that they haven't seen in quite some time.
Absolutely. We're going to be rocking and rolling up there. Last but not least, we are going to announce also the return of wrestling to Hagerstown, Maryland. The cap off the year. I know Adrenaline Wrestling is going to be coming down here on December 26th. Tickets are going on sale at 1 p.m. today. Tickets are going on sale. In action, we're going to have the King of Maryland tournament here this year.
Oh, nice.
So the King of Maryland tournament honoring the late, great Reggie Rivers, who began his career here in Hagerstown, Maryland, a.k.a. Prodigy PTV. We're going to have a tournament, a stacked tournament of professional wrestling here on December 26th, the day after Christmas. Buy those tickets because in action is going to be none other than Rich Swann. Rich Swann is making his return to Hagerstown after a barn burner last month.
Yeah.
Also in action and making an appearance is going to be the one and only Fandango.
Oh my gosh. That man stole my gimmick.
Stole your gimmick as a dancer?
I came up with that ballroom dancing gimmick 8 months before I saw it on WWE. I was pissed. It's the cardball curse. My dad had it happen to him. The greatest minds not in the professional wrestling business today.
There's going to be some other ones. There's going to be some other... I'll just give you some other releases of talent names, so to speak.
Uh-oh.
Take that for what it's worth. That's for what it's worth. But there's going to be some other
the day after
announcements.
Christmas, man. That's the
day after Christmas.
Is that a Sunday?
It is a Sunday. So it's going to be a 5 p.m. show, if I'm not mistaken.
Hey, that's a great time on a Sunday for wrestling. You're in and out of there. You still got most of your evening. You're not there late.
Absolutely. No, but we will have tickets on sale at 1 p.m. Today.
And what venue are they running in? Have they announced the venue yet, Mike?
The venue will be announced at 1 p.m. I don't even know the venue yet, but
Gotcha.
I know it's...
Hey, no problem.
I do want to say it is it's not going to be at 710 this time.
Okay.
The people at 710 had some Christmas events going on this year, so we are going to be moving the professional wrestling venue here in town for the remainder of 2021 to another location. We are going to be announcing that at 1 p.m. Once we do, we're going to have a lot more seating this time. Even with that said, you're going to want to get your tickets early.
Yeah, for the King of Maryland tournament, you're going to want to get those tickets fast and early.
Fast and
it
furious.
Will sell out.
Yeah,
that event will sell out.
This event, just to give you guys some context here, this event is a sellout for us every single year.
Yeah.
This is one of our highest attended events. This is our signature event, so to speak, for Maryland at least. This is the Shane Shamrock Cup. Are pretty much the two signature events. This event sells out every single year, so get your tickets early. This is the first time it's been out of the Baltimore area. We're bringing it to Hagerstown specifically because we're trying to honor somebody who cut his teeth here in Hagerstown, Prodigy, Reggie Rivers. We miss him every day, and we wanted to come down here and give the people of Hagerstown this kind of saw him start out.
Sure.
A tournament honoring him. So, King of Maryland tournament, December 26th. Tickets on sale 1 p.m. AdrenalineWrestling.com.
I think that about does it for us today, Mike.
That does about do it for us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy you joined us once again this week. For myself and Rennis Carball, we will see you next week. Same podcast time, same podcast channel. We are out.